Those pictures show TV journalist Jacque Maribe and Joseph Irungu before the courts, back before the courts. Last week, the Justice Jessy Lesiit ordered that Jacque should undergo a mental assessment, and reporting back, the court was informed that she is indeed fit to answer to the charge of murder. Both Jacque and Jowie, according to the Director of Public Prosecutions, are facing a murder charge over the murder of Monica Kimani. Monica Kimani, as you know, was found murdered in her Kilimani apartment with her hands tied behind her back and her throat slit inside her bathtub. The investigations took the police as far as Mombasa in an effort to recover her vehicle and her car keys, as well as her house keys. Investigations, I believe, are not yet concluded. That is, of course, according to today's Nation report. According to the Nation, the detectives are still puzzling over certain aspects of the crime, which they describe as being carried out by a highly trained killer. They're wondering, for example, why Ms. Kimani did not struggle as her hands were tied behind her back and her mouth was taped shut. And quoting a source, the Daily Nation reports that her body did not have injuries consistent with a big struggle against an assailant. Other things that are highlighted in that story on page 6 of the Daily Nation is that there are also no signs of struggle in her apartment, as one would expect. The source also told the Nation that the source also told the Nation that the reading of the crime scene indicated that Miss Kimani was calm when she was tied up. They don't know why that was the case, why she did not put up any resistance, why there were no signs of a struggle. So police do not think that she was tied up in the bathroom. They've speculated, or rather there's speculation that she might have been trussed up in the bedroom and taken to the bathroom and killed. So they're looking into whether she was possibly drugged, and that could be consistent with the evidence they say they currently have. And speaking of what they say is, or who they say is a highly trained killer who executed Ms. Kimani, they say the murderer must have been a meticulous planner, a trained killer who thought about the crime seriously in advance and covered their tracks, including disguising himself in a kanzu and stealing an identity card for use to get into Ms. Kimani's apartment. Of course, the person they're referring to in this particular instance is Jacque Maribe's fiancé, and that is Jowie Irungu, alias Jowie, as he is known to his friends. It also emerged in a story that was carried by NTV that late last year, he had indicated to friends that his father was either unwell or deceased, which he is not, because Dennis Okari carried out an interview with both his parents, his mother and his father, who expressed a fear for their well-being and why they insisted on having their identities concealed. Ms. Maribe is represented by Katwa Kigen, a very well-placed lawyer in the city of Nairobi. And going back to the investigations into that brutal, heinous murder of Monica Kimani, the police are assuming that the killer acted alone and was known and trusted by the victim. And they say that is why there is very likely no sign, or there wasn't any sign of a struggle. A team of detectives is still in South Sudan, going over Ms. Kimani's business activities and her alleged relationship with Lieutenant General Daniel Awet Akot, the Deputy Speaker of the South Sudanese Parliament and an advisor to President Salva Kiir, to see whether the motive for her killing lay there in South Sudan. And the source that spoke to the Daily Nation said the inquiries in South Sudan are going to take some time. And detectives say they're still trying to conclusively figure out the motive of the murder, and that DNA results are still being analyzed. Reached for comment yesterday, the Director of Criminal Investigations, George Kinoti, said that his team had made progress, and quoting him, they say, "We have achieved our threshold," he said in a television interview, in a telephone call with the Daily Nation. Ms. Maribe and Mr. Irungu appeared before Justice Jessy Lesiit in at the Milimani Law Courts, whose pictures you're seeing now, last week. And as I said, they did not take plea because Ms. Maribe was yet to undergo a mental assessment test. It was ordered that she undergo the test at the Mathare Hospital, and she received a clean bill of health where her mental health is concerned. And again, according to the Daily Nation, an investigator said circumstantial evidence and fingerprints dusted from Ms. Kimani's home, wine glasses and furniture have shown that Irungu was in her Kilimani home. And that is the Lamuria Gardens flat, and probably on the night of September 19th. However, the forensics team has not given the DNA results yet. And quoting a detective who is involved in those investigations, they say it will take time before we can really ascertain the biological identity of the killer. And this is a detective who is privy to those investigations. He goes on to say, we are relying on circumstantial evidence for now, but we have not been successful in getting any important information from the main suspect in our custody, and that would be Jowie. There had been reports that he's not cooperating with police, that he's not volunteering any information, waiting to see what the investigations will turn up. That's him on your screen right there. There was also an order last week that he should seek, or rather that the prison authorities should make sure that he receives medical attention. That is because he suffered from what the authorities say was a self-inflicted gunshot wound to his right side, to his left side, the upper torso, and his parents were concerned. That could be his mother who he's embracing. The authorities were concerned, rather his family was concerned that his arm would need to be amputated. Yes, that should be his mother. As I mentioned earlier, Dennis Okari interviewed both his father and his mother. At the time, they insisted on their identities being kept from the public, saying they were concerned for their well-being. His mother said every time every time she hears somebody knock on her gate, she is struck by fear. And so, yeah, now it appears that Jowie, given Jowie's emotional state, she's been forced to embrace her son and reveal her face to the public. Last week, there was not very much interaction between Jacque Maribe and Joseph Irungu, despite them sitting in the same dock. And the court seems to be coming into session.
With the Proceedings Division, Joseph Lesiit. My name is Jessy. I'm a court assistant. We are ready to start our today's morning session. We are starting with a criminal case number 51 of 2018. These persons are Joseph Irungu, alias Jowie, and Jacque Maribe.
My lady, may it please you. Laitana Mugambi, I do appear for the first accused person. We appear together with the Clifford Beta, Mr. Nyaberi, and assisted by Mr. Yeko.
May it please hit my lady. My name is Katwa. I appear together with Mr. Omari for the second accused.
Present, my lady.
Your Honor, it was coming up for taking a plea. We are ready to take. Sorry.
My lady, appearing for the state in this matter, I'll continue appearing with Mr. Manga on this matter. My lady, we have received the mental assessment report dated the 11th of October 2018. It is the opinion of the consultant psychiatrist that the second accused is fit to plead. We are now ready to take the plea with that to both accused persons. 11th of October 2018. The consultant psychiatrist has confirmed that she's fit to take plea or to stand trial. We are now ready to take plea. I'm sorry, and I sincerely apologize. Mr. Omisi is watching brief for the family of the deceased. I apologize for that.
Present, my lady.
Mr. Laichana, you said you are ready for the plea?
Yes, we are ready, my lady.
Mr. Katwa?
We are ready, my lady.
What language do they want to use?
English. English for both.
So you'll both listen carefully because you'll be required to answer the charge. You are facing one count of murder contra section 203 as read with section 204 of the Penal Code, and the particulars are as follows. The first accused, Joseph Irungu, alias Jowie, and the second accused, Jacque Maribe, on the night of the 19th of September this year, at an unknown time, at Lamuria Gardens apartment, Kitale Lane off Dennis Street, Dennis Street Road in Kilimani area within Nairobi County. You are jointly charged with the murder of Monica Kimani. Now, first accused, you understand the charge?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it true?
Not true.
Second accused, you understand the charge?
Yes, I do.
Is it true? Now I've entered a plea of not guilty for each of the accused for the offense.
With your kind permission, your ladyship. Having taken the plea, your ladyship, we have 3 applications to make. Your ladyship, the first application is we pray for. Okay, your ladyship.
Appearance, my lady, for the first accused person, as manually introduced. Go up the lieutenant. Yes, my lady, we will be praying that the prosecution do supply us with all the documents, witness statements, that they wish to rely on in this matter, including any exhibits that they will be producing for the trial date. That's all.
For the second accused here now, we will be praying, number one, for close hearing dates. The second one here, Your Ladyship, we are praying for all the documents that the prosecution intends to rely on, including the investigation diary, Your Ladyship, and the investigating officer's statement. Number three, Your Ladyship, we pray that you entertain us today on an application under Article 49 for admission of the accused persons to bail as a matter of right, and under the understanding that the burden of proving that there are reasons not to grant would be on the prosecution. For those reasons, Your Ladyship, we pray that you give us audience on the bail, as you may court us in respect to the hearing dates and in respect to the documents.
My Lady, we will supply the defense with the witnesses' statements and exhibits within the next 2 weeks, excluding the statements for the intended protected witnesses, or the witnesses who will be protected. The same will be provided once the Witness Protection Agency gives us guidelines as to the nature of their protection. There are several witnesses. We intend to request the Witness Protection Agency give us directions as to their nature of protection. We are not opposed to, subject to the court's direction, having early hearing dates in this matter, but subject to the court's direction and diary. My Lady, in regard to the issue of the application under Article 49, and as directed by the court the last time we were here, we will supply the defense counsels with our affidavit, which has about 18 annexures, and the same is in the process of being commissioned and filed. I believe the same will be done in the next 15 or 20 minutes. We are therefore praying for a date, having served the defense counsels with the replying affidavit, for us to be able to canvass the same issues, as we are opposed to both accused persons being released on bail or bond, pending the determination of this hearing. And we apologize for
My Lady, on behalf of the family would also oppose the application for bail under Article 39. However, my Lady, we are yet to file our affidavit, which is already prepared, save that it's yet to be signed. We request for more time, 1 day at most, to have the affidavit ready, filed, and served upon the accused person's counsel.
My lady, on behalf of the first accused person, we had already filed the application for bail and served. But unfortunately, the prosecution says they have already served us with a response. We have not received any response yet. You are directed that they file the replying affidavit by today. She is serving us in 20 minutes. Then, my lady,
since we are talking of an issue which has not been supplied to us, we don't know what documentation we have. My suggestion would be that perhaps if we can wait for the 20 minutes that they are suggesting about, then we look at what they are saying for us to be able to then address you adequately in terms of the issues that they are presented before you. Because they cannot say we are opposing to bond when they have nothing to present before us, so that we can also be able to interrogate it and make a response.
We don't have your application.
For the second accused, Your Ladyship, we very kindly request if you could kindly allow us to have the file placed aside for a few minutes. Upon looking at the prosecution's affidavit, we might be ready to proceed, Your Ladyship, and we very kindly request that you place it aside quickly. That's okay, Your Ladyship. Could we very kindly request for a mention before the other guy today, Your Ladyship, very kindly?
They don't sit today, so you won't get them. Now, let's do the proper thing. Eh?
Yes, Your Ladyship.
They are filing some documents, there are 18 annexures. You need to look at them and maybe to file something. Or you don't need to file anything?
We know what they are saying, Your Ladyship. And we are really anxious to proceed with this application. Anyway, Your Ladyship, we are very kindly requesting you, very kindly, for accelerated dates. If it's not possible to have the mention today before the judge.
Mr. Katwa,
yes, Your Ladyship.
Anything you request must have a supporting reason for it. So you are just saying accelerated. Why? Why accelerated?
Your Ladyship, the accused persons have already been in for the last 15 days, Your Ladyship.
Now, you know that issue, I will not handle it.
Yes, but that's the reason, yes.
Yeah, I won't handle that one.
I was just reacting to your invitation, Your Ladyship.
And I'm only just cautioning you that anything you ask, you must have something to support.
I do have support, yes, Your Ladyship.
Okay, I want to give you a mention before that court.
Yes.
But the better thing would be that you get leave to file whatever responses you may want once you are served with that affidavit.
In that instance, my lady, since they're saying they're going to serve us in the next 20 minutes, we can have leave to put any further response that we may wish to do. Then we have a mentioned date before the trial court.
Yeah, how many days do you need to respond?
By this afternoon we will be ready.
This afternoon we will respond immediately they serve us.
Okay, just correction, my learned friend watching this for the deceased family has requested at least even tomorrow to be able to file. So today we cannot actually progress on the issues of conversing on the bail issue. We need to give him ample time to file and serve.
Your Ladyship, we pray that you do not place us in the hands of the client represented by Ms. Moniki, my learned friend for the family. Your Ladyship, the right belongs to the accused person. It doesn't belong to the family. And
so we have not read the law and the reforms we have made in that area. So let's do this. Let's not waste more time. I want to place you before the judge. Maybe Wednesday, so that you can go and get a date for the hearing of the application. In the meantime, you can file your responses once served.
Tomorrow is not an option, Your Ladyship.
No. You don't ambush people like that.
In that case, my lady, because the orders were that they serve us by today, this morning, is it possible another issues that they serve us by close of business today for us to then take the entire of tomorrow to work on the...
Yeah, that will be by the prosecution. I don't know about the victims. Can you file by the end of the day?
Already the
File and serve.
be able to serve them is morning tomorrow, but we file by end of the day.
So you go there on Wednesday for dates for the application. That is 17th. Is that convenient to everyone?
Yes,
That's okay, Madam.
You go for dates. You go for dates. You don't ambush colleagues with the dates of this nature. Mr. Laichela, is it Laichela or Laichena? Is it L or N? L. You're not hearing what I'm saying. I said you go for mention so that you give you a date for the application. I don't know what kind of matters he has. Yeah. So the state should file and serve so can you say by 2 o'clock you should have filed and served all the parties? And then the victim have up to tomorrow morning to do that. So I've said the defense will have leave to file whatever responses they may have before the date that will be given for the hearing of the application.
Is it possible by to have timelines within which the victim's family are supposed to the time tomorrow, so that we don't come and they serve us at 5 in the evening, because we don't have had any time to. We have a specific timeline in the orders issued.
Morning Monday, I believe we all understand what the hours of morning.
No, Ms. Monica, that doesn't touch you. Is the other party?
My lady, you said morning hours. We will definitely serve the
timelines.
So by midday.
By midday.
So, finally, the first accused person was, as directed by the court, was taken to first the prison clinic and then later referred to Kenyatta National Hospital. Unfortunately, I cannot be able to read the doctor's handwriting, but this indicates that he was with the prison officers complied to the court's directions. The officer is present in court.
As you make that final order, is an issue that was the normal set of that. If the personal effects for the first accused person, which are not part of the exhibits, will be released to him, because I'm told his clothes and other personal stuff was taken during the time of the arrest. Those that will not form part of the investigation of the exhibits, they can be released to him.
Can you follow them? Because they are not exhibits before the court. You can discuss with them. Investigating also. If there is any issue, then that's when you can raise. So I just said I've noted they complied with the court order to have him taken to hospital. So you go before the other court on the Wednesday 17th, then you'll be given dates for the hearing of the bail application.
Which court, my lady? Which court?
You will know.
You said I hear your lecture.
Sorry?
You said we appear before him.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Criminal case number 6 of 2018. This person is Joseph Irungu Maina Mayan Bogwa.
Well, that marks the end of that particular court proceeding. Several things have transpired, beginning with the prosecution having asked for 2 weeks to submit witness statements. They've opposed the application by the first accused person, who is Joseph Irungu, and the second accused person, Jacque Maribe's applications for bail, for release on bail. We saw earlier Jowie embrace his mother. You can see Jacque is walking out of the courtroom. We had the defense say there is no good reason to continue detaining the suspects inordinately, and therefore they want their clients released. But that is a matter on which the court is yet to rule on.